If you're looking for that advantage over all your mates in your mini league this season, don't worry, I've got you covered in today's video as we're going to be talking about the best times to use your first wildcard. Now, before we dive into today's video, I just want to say that we are trying to hit 6,000 subscribers by the start of the new Premier League season. So if you want to help us hit that goal, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Right, let's start off first with strategy one, and that is wildcarding in match day 6. Now, what you can do with this one is play very aggressive over the opening 5 game weeks, and I think that's a really good strategy. You know, there's some great fixtures in there. Obviously, Manchester City and Liverpool are both facing newly promoted Ipswich, which on paper seems like really good fixtures and definitely something we should be looking to target as well. They've both got lots of quality assets as well, so I do think that's one of the main advantages with this strategy straight off the bat. You can play those opening 5 game weeks very strong. Spurs' opening 2 as well are pretty decent, so again, it allows you to just be a little bit more aggressive with kind of the top 6 teams against lesser opponents and not have to worry as much. So I think that's definitely a massive plus in my opinion as well. That's one of the big ticks for wildcarding in match day 6. And the other one, I think it gives you a few weeks as well to see which teams are doing quite well, which premium assets as well are potentially worth maybe taking a look at as well, because you know there's quite a lot this season and some over the opening 6 game weeks might not be able to kind of live up to the hype and the kind of expectations we've set on them. I'm looking at the likes of Salah, I'm looking at the likes of Erling Haaland, or if those players do pop off and you need a way to go and get them, this again, wildcard match day 6 could be the ideal way to go and get either one of those guys straight back into your team or into your team for the first time if they, you know, absolutely smash it at the start of the season. You don't have a clear, direct way to go and get one of these players. As you can see, first draft will target Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle United, Chelsea, and Aston Villa. Realistically, there's some other teams as well. We're going to take a look through fixtures as well right now. So let's move on to that. So on the left is the fixtures for the opening 6, then it's the following 6 after that as well. So let's start off with the first 6 that we're going to be obviously looking to target with our wildcard happening in match day 6. So for me, you would be looking at teams like Aston Villa. As you can see, lots of positives, lots of greens in there. Leicester in match day 2, then Everton and Wolves at home, great set of fixtures there. Chelsea as well, probably another team. They've got Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham. So again, probably looking at the likes of Cole Palmer, maybe a defender as well. Very decent team to be kind of looking at. You can also take a gamble on some teams like Fulham, who play Leicester, Ipswich, West Ham. Pretty decent set of 3 there. You've also got obviously Liverpool with Ipswich, Brentford at home, Nottingham Forest, and Bournemouth, a pretty decent set of opening fixtures as well. And like we spoke about, Spurs is opening to a very decent with Leicester and Everton. And then Newcastle as well. I've seen quite a lot of people with the likes of obviously a defender in Dan Burn, Anthony Gordon, and Alexander Isak. Realistically, you could go for the triple up of those. You could also be looking at Manchester City with a Gvardiol, Foden, and Haaland all in that team as well. Getting Salah in there, getting Trent in there. Maybe thinking about Robertson as well. I probably wouldn't look at any other Liverpool assets outside of that as well. I think you could build a really strong team, kind of just built up of those assets as well. Maybe even worth taking a little bit of a gamble on Son at the start of the season. He is very good and very good with the captaincy armband as well. We saw that at times last season as well. So could be a player that you trust in match day 1 or match day 2 as well. So I definitely think, you know, attacking these early fixtures with an early wild card in mind could definitely be a great strategy. And what then you can do with that is obviously once you've wildcarded in match day 6, you will be looking to target certain teams. Again, we've got Arsenal here with Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, so definitely worth considering with the opening 3 there. And something I just want to quickly raise on this as well is obviously with us able to now bank more transfers, I think that's effectively what you could do is like mini wildcard and now start to target these shorter kind of obviously fixture runs for teams. I think previously, 3 runs like this where it was Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth, we probably would have been a little bit more hesitant. But I think with us able to bank transfers over numerous weeks means now that we can kind of get a little bit of a collection going, and then when these good runs come up, we can very easily just replace players because we could easily just rotate and not have to worry about it. So I think that's one of the big pluses of this kind of new transfer thing. And again, it impacts obviously wildcard strategies. You know, you could be going into 4 and 5, not, you know, having used any transfers, then banking those those, not needing them for the opening 3 weeks. So you could go triple Arsenal, then you've got 5 transfers banked to get rid of all your Arsenal assets as well. So I think that's a great strat. Also, as you can see, Brentford in there, their opening fixtures are a little bit scattered, but after that, West Ham, Wolves, Ipswich and Bournemouth, great set for them. Everton as well, a team that realistically probably again you maybe would be looking at one defender, but after that point they've got Palace, Newcastle, Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham. Great run for them. Maybe if Ipswich have started the season as well, there's another team that you potentially could be taking a look at on the wild card as well. Manchester City, again, like I said, if you don't have Haaland for the opening set of fixtures, again this match day 6 wild card does give you a nice and easy route to go and get in for some absolutely stellar fixtures. And arguably at this point as well, what you probably would be looking to doing is maybe dropping the likes of Cole Palmer if you go with him from the start. Brighton, Nottingham Forest at home are pretty decent, but after that, Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester United and Arsenal. Not a great set of fixtures for Chelsea after that point. So again, factoring in, you can play it aggressive with the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool. Then after this point, when their fixtures obviously take a little bit of a nosedive, you can very easily switch and look to target other teams that have some really strong fixtures towards kind of the latter stages of this. So obviously that's strategy number 1, match day 6 wildcard. Let me know what you think of that down in the description. If you want to obviously take a screenshot of any of this, that is completely fine. And let's move on to my second strategy. Moving on to my second favourite strategy, and that is wildcarding in match day 12. Again, there are obviously other weeks. Some people have identified match day 8, but for me, I think where a lot of people will be going straight, kind of looking at fixture swings so far, is going to be match day 6 and match day 12. Obviously, again, with the ability to roll 5 transfers, you can target shorter fixture runs. Again, I think that leads really nicely. Obviously, we've spoke about the fixture swings in the last section for teams like Arsenal, Liverpool and stuff like that. And I think with the ability to bank transfers, I think sometimes you can kind of maybe do a mini wild card in 6 and get rid of some of the players. So you go quite aggressive at the start with some of the teams, but not as aggressive as if you've got a wild card. Bank all the transfers up until match day 5, then do basically a mini wild card going into 6 to switch to the teams that have really good fixtures, and then kind of drag your team along all the way up until match day 12. I definitely think this could be my preferred strategy as well. Also as well, this does happen after the second international break of the season, and there's not another one till March the following year. So again, this gives you 2 weeks to plan. Obviously as well, with international breaks, there's always random players picking up injuries and stuff like that. So again, I think it's probably one of the best times to go and plan is just after an international break, because, you know, some players might be late back and maybe miss some minutes, but at the same time, it gives you 2 weeks to prepare, plan, get ahead with obviously price rises and stuff like that. So I think that's a great point of it. And then as well, what also you get is this ability to see which players are fit, because obviously they're coming all back, and see which players are playing. And I think it's just a nice time to kind of wildcard. I usually like doing that. Wildcarding before an international break is always a little bit tricky, because you never know what could happen over that international period. Players magically pick up injuries, suspensions, whatever. Stuff like that happens over international breaks. Sometimes it's usually just random injuries as well. So I think when you get to wildcard after one, it gives you a little bit more knowledge. You don't have to worry about a player going and picking up an injury as well on international duty as well. The only downside I would say to this strategy is you are wildcarding into the busy Christmas period, and we all know how that goes. Plenty of rotation, so maybe some fixtures here are looking very appetizing, and maybe some players that have been doing extremely well could see potentially some more reduced minutes with Champions League football, Carabao Cup football, and obviously the congested fixture period over that Christmas schedule as well. So I think that's probably one of the downsides, but we're all going to be kind of in that. So I think maybe that might not be as big of a factor as I'm potentially a little bit concerned about. So let's start off first with the opening 12 fixtures. Obviously, we've spoke about there being a fixture swing around match day 6, and again, what I kind of would advise is maybe kind of looking to bank a couple transfers over the opening couple game weeks. Don't be too rash. Think about it, bank a couple transfers, and then target some mini kind of fixture swings around the match day 6 one. So we are looking at the teams like Arsenal. We're looking at teams like, you know, Crystal Palace, Everton as well, with that really decent run as well. So you can basically get that from match day 5 up until match day 11. Obviously, we'll be wildcarding in match day 12 as well. Fulham have got a pretty decent run throughout the whole thing, so maybe worth considering a few of their assets as long-term holds as well. Looking at Leicester as well, they've got a pretty decent one in there. Manchester City, again, like I said, if you've got these transfers saved up and you haven't gone for Haaland from the start, again, it gives you that period to obviously bank them up over the opening couple game weeks and then switch on to him, where realistically, he could be your captain for 5 consecutive weeks there. Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth and Brighton, he realistically could be captain for every single one of those weeks. Again, another fixture kind of mini swing is Manchester United around match day 8 as well, so definitely worth considering. So I think there's definitely some kind of positives to going for this strategy. Again, if you're banking transfers, you can just use them as like mini wildcards around the periods of match day 6, 7 and 8 and target some of the shorter fixtures as well. So definitely something to consider with that one. And then moving on to your match day 12 wildcard, moving all the way up to match day 19. After that, we obviously get our second wildcard active. As you can see, again, there are some really nice fixture swings to be targeting with this one. We're looking at the likes of Arsenal, some really stellar fixtures in there. Ipswich obviously being the standout, Everton and Nottingham Forest at home as well, so a really decent run for them. Some pretty decent fixtures for Aston Villa as well, newly promoted Southampton, Brentford and Crystal Palace all at home. Bournemouth as well entering the conversation, a team at this point we probably really haven't spoken about because they haven't had a decent fixture run, whereas match day 12 they're getting Brighton, Wolves, Tottenham's not the easiest, but Ipswich and West Ham pretty decent fixtures, so maybe Dominic Solanke enters the conversation as well. Brighton assets, again, we've really not spoken about them. Match day 12 they've got a pretty decent fixture swing as well to potentially be taking a look at. So have Chelsea, so again, really nice fixtures. And then Everton, who previously we would have been obviously loaded up on quite a few assets with their strong fixture run going into match day 12, we would be looking to hop off quite a few of their assets. Same goes for Fulham as well going into that period. Liverpool is probably a little bit patchy. Manchester City, a little bit patchy as well. Same goes for Manchester United. Some decent fixtures, but then 2 absolute honkers kicking about in there as well. Newcastle, again, probably they'll have a period where we want them, then we don't want them after match day 6, and then we're probably coming back to them with them facing Leicester and Ipswich in match day 6 and match day 17. Same with West Ham, they're probably best fixture run of the season, and for Wolves as well over the festive period. So again, I think this is again one of the main advantages of this match day 12 wildcard. There are some huge swings for some pretty big sides, the likes of Arsenal, Aston Villa, West Ham, Wolves, you know, lots of teams that we might want to potentially be looking to jump on, and then obviously jump off some of the other smaller teams as well, the likes of Everton and Fulham, with their fixtures taking a little bit of a turn. So again, I think there's lots of pluses to both strategies. Currently, I think I'm going to be leaning a little bit more towards the match day 12. I think with the additional transfers that we have been given, I think it does now allow you to potentially do little mini wildcards and mini updates to target kind of smaller fixture swings like the ones we saw with Arsenal towards around match day 6. I think that's probably one of the best things that they have introduced to the game. I think it benefits us as planners that we are able to now go and do this as well. And with this match day 12 wildcard, like I said, it is after an international break, so you can have obviously a little bit of a clearing period, and at that point as well you can see which teams are probably progressing in the cup, which ones might have heavy fixture congestion obviously during this time period as well. And there are some amazing fixtures I think we could be targeting after match day 12. But let me know what you think of the 2 strategies I have provided for you guys in the comment section. Obviously there are more strategies at play, but these are the 2 main ones I think a lot of people will be going for this season. If you did enjoy the content that you saw today, or any content you've seen on the channel, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 1.